So here is the location of the thalamus. This is the mid-sagittal view. So that thalamus is part of the diencephalon. There are two of them, one on each side, and they are connected with each other by the interthalamic adhesion. So in the middle, this area is actually the third ventricle is located there. And above that, you can see the corpus callosum, there's the fornix and other stuff are there. And below that, you can see the hypothalamus and the brainstem is here. If you cut it like this coronally, then you can see the location of the thalamus here. So there's two of them, as I said before. In the middle, you will have the third ventricle here. You have the lateral ventricles here. This is the septum pellucidum, and this is the corpus callosum. And below that, you have the subthalamic nuclei are there. Substantia nigra is around here. They just put it there all the way, so it's located around here. And if you make a transverse cut like this, then again you can see the location of the thalamus and these two separated from each other by the third ventricle, and these are the lateral ventricles there. You can also see the lentiform nucleus, which is made of the putamen laterally and globus pallidus medially. And lentiform nucleus is separated from the thalamus by the internal capsule. This is the internal capsule. And this is just a part of the caudate nucleus here. So these are the different nuclei of the thalamus. So we start with this image. So thalamus is divided by different group of nuclei. The first one is the lateral group. So this whole area is the lateral group, and that is separated by internal medullary lamina, which is just the nerve fibers from other nuclei here. So the lateral group is divided into the dorsal tire and the ventral tire. The dorsal tire is made of the lateral dorsal, lateral posterior, and pulvinar. So there's three of them here. And the ventral tire is made of ventral anterior, ventral lateral, and ventral posterior. The ventral posterior is again divided into the ventral posterolateral and ventral posteromedial. So ventral posteromedial is smaller, ventral posterolateral is bigger. And these are the abbreviations. So this is the full name of the abbreviations. This area is the anterior nucleus, and medially this is the dorsomedial group there. You also have the geniculate nuclei, so this is the lateral geniculate nucleus, and this is the medial geniculate nucleus. If you cut the thalamus like that, then you have an image like this. So there is two thalami, one on each side, as I said before. In the middle, they are separated from each other by the third ventricle. You have the dorsomedial nucleus here medially, which is this one, and you have the lateral dorsal as this one, and this is the big one. So the ventral posterior nucleus, which is made of two other nuclei, ventral posterolateral, this area, and ventral posteromedial, which is this one. You can also see a small portion of the ventral lateral here. So these nuclei are separated from each other by the internal medullary lamina. So this is the internal medullary lamina. And here there's a couple of other nuclei are there that you cannot see in this view because they are located deeper. These are called intralaminar nuclei, and one of them is called centromedian, is this one, and there is also parafascicular that you cannot see it in this view. There is also another group of nuclei which is located most superficially, and these are called thalamic reticular nucleus. So one on each side, and these are they have an extensive connection with the cortex of brain. So the thalamic nuclei are divided into three different groups. So one is relay nuclei, the other one is association nuclei, and the third one is the other category. So they couldn't find any better name, and they said, okay, this is the other guy. So they put it as the other category. So relay nuclei are processing sensory, motor, and limbic system, and they contain the ventral group and the dorsal group and anterior nuclei, and also the geniculate nuclei. So there's a lot of different ones, and they have a connection with the cortex of brain, so it have a bilateral communication with the cortex of brain. Association nuclei, these are the dorsomedial and pulvinar, and they also have connection with the cortex of brain bilaterally. And finally, the other category is made of two different type of nuclei. One is intralaminar nuclei, which is the centromedial and parafascicular, and they connected with the basal ganglia and the limbic system. The reticular nuclei, reticular thalamic nuclei, are connected with the cortex of brain very extensively, and it's very important with consciousness.